Breaking news, Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield calls off surgery anesthesia cap. Down below, why it matters. This matters. You know, there was a very clear message that was sent the other day with the demise of the CEO of United Healthcare. And the message is pretty much, shit is getting real. And it's interesting to see, you know, the response to what happened to this man the other day, because the response is pretty cold. And, you know, something that I feel like is being overlooked is how it kind of mirrors the response that came out of the interview with his wife. In the interview with his wife, the interviewer asked what kind of threats were being made to him. And her response was, I don't know, lack of coverage. And to me, obviously, I'd like to see a video of how she said it, but every time I read it, it comes off as incredibly condescending. Like, you know, I don't know, like lack of coverage. Like lack of coverage isn't attached to another human being. This is part of the problem because, you know, these people, these executives and these CFOs and CEOs, they sort of severed whatever cord that existed at one point that attached them to the human beings that these insurance policies are connected with. You know, so when I read that she said, like, I don't know, lack of coverage, you know, it's hard to read it without a condescending tone. And it's like, I realize that, you know, her husband just lost his life, and my condolences do go out to that. And, you know, it makes me sad that there is so much coldness in response to his demise. But when she has a cold statement like that, that kind of gives this, like, I don't know, like a peasant lost his coverage. I don't know. Well, how am I supposed to know? And it's like, honey, like loss of coverage or lack of coverage due to your company's denial or the cyber attack that happened earlier this year, which is a whole nother level of what could be going on within the company. It's like you're detaching yourself from the fact that this is lack in coverage means, you know, life or death in this industry. Lack of coverage or lapse of coverage is literally the difference between life or death with, I don't know, somebody else's husband or with a child. And so, and when you're playing with people's lives and finances, it's not surprising that things have escalated to what they are. And it's also not surprising that Blue Cross Blue Shield started rolling back this crazy anesthesia policy that they were about to put in place, because they need to. Like, they connected the dots, thank goodness, within a 24-hour period, because things are getting really scary out there and people aren't taking it anymore. So whether this has something to do with internally within the company and maybe that cyber attack and the data breach and the millions that had to be paid out to like Russian hackers, or it has something to do with the American people just simply being fed up with the fact that these executives and these shareholders are making so much money, like billions and billions and billions of dollars, and they're making more and more every year, while the American people suffer more and more every day. You know, no matter which way you look at it, it's no surprise that something like this happened. And then, you know, on top of it, it's kind of, you know, it's right in your face when you see the Blue Cross Blue Shield coming in and saying they're going to put an anesthesia cap. And that just goes to show that that's just one more way they were going to gut people of money. People were under anesthesia and have no idea what's going on with their insurance companies. And they literally are like, oh, well, they're under anesthesia, but they don't know how long it's going to take. And we're going to take more money from you. I mean, the irony and the coincidence of all, it's like, you can't write this shit. You know what I mean? So it is no surprising that they rewinded on that, because people are paying attention, and it's like, people don't care anymore. I mean, you see how cold the responses are to this man's demise, and you see how he was shot down in cold blood, and there's no witnesses. Like, nobody is paying attention, probably on purpose, because people are like, you know what? What else are we going to do? Like, the government doesn't seem to have our back, and we're just losing out here. And so what I hope comes out of this is that other insurance companies start to take notice, because this is really, really important. You know, insurance companies have been squeezing like every penny out of people for so long. Like, I used to work in insurance billing, and I'm telling you, it's shady, and they've been doing this for so long, and people are broke, they're sick, you know, people are losing their lives, their family members are losing their lives. And, you know, what's the quote? the most dangerous man is the one who has nothing left to lose. It's like, well, that's kind of what the American people are getting to right now, and we're seeing the effects of that. And so I'm hoping that insurance companies can start to take notice of A, what happened to this man, and B, what Blue Cross Blue Shield just did about maybe rewinding some policies that are just going to gouge people even more, and say, you know what, I think maybe we've hit our cap. I think maybe we've exposed these people. We've gotten everything we can of these people, and now we need to figure out a way to, restore and revisit our policies, because, it's not fair that these insurance companies make so much money off of us getting sicker and sicker, and being in cahoots with the same administration that continues to poison our food to make us sicker and sicker. Like, I'm sorry, this is a huge issue for me. I've been talking about it for quite a few years now, and I'm just hoping insurance companies start to pay attention, and even the food companies, because they're struggling, man, and you don't really know what people are capable of until something like this happens. And to people who work for the insurance companies, and possibly the wives of those people and husbands of those people, when you start talking about, loss in coverage, just remember that coverage is attached to a human being. And the same way this man, recently lost his life, that is happening day after day after day after day to people who are attached to these coverages or lack thereof. And if we can reattach that cord that attaches, the coverage to the human instead of the coverage to the shareholder, I think we could get ourselves to a much better place, and hopefully it won't seem so condescending when you do those interviews. So just a little message to send to those people. Other than that, again, I just hope that there can be good that comes out of something that clearly is such a strong message this week.